Who's anchoring today?
Jake, maybe? Where is he?
He's covering the Rockies.
Then
So who's anchoring?
who do we have to anchor?
Hello and welcome to another episode of BuffSports Live. I'm Nathan Tung. Joining me on the desk is our executive producer, Mitchell Sanchez.
We've got two producers on the desk, so let's see how this will go. Nathan, isn't this your first time anchoring?
Yes, it is. I wanted to try it firsthand, you know?
It's nice seeing you in front of the big screen. Anyways, we've got lots of updates on CU Sports, so let's get started. With Women's Appreciation Month coming to an end, Vinay Simlot investigates the treatment of women's athletes when he caught up with Seal Berry, our favorite Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer Seal Berry was a women's basketball coach at the University of Colorado for over 20 years. But before coaching the Buffs, Berry was one of the first women to receive an athletic scholarship, playing basketball at the University of Kentucky. A product of Title IX, Coach Berry has seen the impact of the landmark legislation throughout her career.
It's the best piece of legislation in the last 100 years. It's taken a group of people who needed confidence, who needed to learn and gain some of the values, core values that sports teach you.
Title IX was created to make sure public institutions do not discriminate between men and women in educational programs or activities.
When you kind of immediately start to apply that law, when you have an environment where there are no female sports, schools started to have to add activities specifically for women.
And here at the University of Colorado, Athletic Director Rick George has implemented the Gender Equity Plan to make sure these athletes get access to the same resources as these athletes.
It's all equal with the girls and the boys here, and a lot of the time we're together in the same facilities and doing a lot of the same things.
But the economic difference between men's and women's athletics is staggering. The men's basketball game attendance is almost 7 times that of women's basketball, and lower attendance means less revenue. Coach Berry blames the media.
If you ask the media why they don't cover women's sports, they say nobody attends. And nobody attends because they don't know when the games are, they don't know who they're playing, they don't know who the coaches are, they don't know what the standings are.
A University of Southern California study found that the media covers women's sports less than 10% of the time across the country. And for Seal Berry, the next phase of her career is devoted to closing that gap. Vinay Simlot, News Team Boulder.
BuffSports Live is the proud producer of the University of Colorado men's club lacrosse streams. The team is known by the name the Cardiac Kids because of their streak of clutch victories. The first night of spring break, the team won 13-12 in the fourth quarter, and on Tuesday of spring break, the team won 11-10 in overtime. Since returning home for their second half of the season, the men's lacrosse team hasn't lost. At Grand Canyon's game on Tuesday, Jake Shapiro snagged the women's hockey president to talk about something completely unrelated.
I'm joined by Caitlin Hannafy. Caitlin, you're the captain of the Colorado women's, the president, I should say, of the Colorado women's hockey team. You guys just had a wonderful season. Tell us what happened in your season.
So this season was incredible. We really faced a lot of adversity with certain people quit. We ended up changing our coaching staff. But in the end, we finished being 6th ranked going into the national tournament, and we ended up sweeping Michigan State, who was ranked 3rd, to advance to the semifinals at nationals.
In a pretty awesome moment against Michigan State. Tell us what happened.
So it was incredible. With 30 seconds left in the game, Maura Kieft, one of our defensemen, shot, and Alyssa Wada tipped it in to win the game-winning goal. And our entire bench just went insane. It was so exciting.
And if you're looking to find Colorado women's hockey on the web, Twitter, Facebook, where's that at?
The best place to look for us is on our Facebook page. We have all the information and contacts there.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Back to you guys on the desk. And for right now, back to us at the game. I'll be joined by Zach.
The King, George King, once again taking the crown, this time as the most outstanding player at the NABC All-Star Game in San Antonio. The game features the best senior athletes from across the country, and King lit it up, scoring 21 points, shooting 8 for 11. He also pulled down 9 rebounds, which is sure to make Coach Boyle proud.
While everybody was partying it up over spring break, the women's lacrosse team was hard at work visiting the Oregon Ducks and the Denver Pioneers. The Buffs beat the Ducks 14-9 after scoring 8 goals in the second half. Samantha Nemirov led Colorado with 6 goals in that one. But when they got back, the Buffs lost to the Denver Pioneers 8-10, despite outscoring Denver 6-4 in the first half, making for an unhappy bus ride down Highway 36.
The Colorado women's lacrosse team has moved down in the national polls. They improved to 7-3 overall after beating Oregon on the 26th. But after falling to the University of Denver last Thursday, the Buffs dropped slightly in national rankings to 18th. The Buffs look to improve their overall ranking at their next game against USC.
This week's trivia question comes to you from an athletic department tradition, the Student Athlete Awards Ceremony, where athletes received awards based on their academic performance. Our question this week is, which varsity sport has the senior athlete with the highest GPA? We'll have the answer for you at the end of the show.
Get ready and grab your golf clubs, folks, because the Masters is officially underway and we've got lots of golf coming up.
My favorite sport.
Scott in college athletics. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, and you're watching BuffSports Live.
We are the University of Colorado sailing team, still the only college sailing team in Colorado. Last year, we traveled to 5 regattas and hosted our own using a fleet we bought with community support.
This year, we're raising money to purchase a safety boat that will take care of our sailors and lead effective practices to get them in tip-top shape to kick stern at regattas.
Weather changes happen quickly in Colorado, so we need to be prepared in case anyone ends up in the water. A safety boat with a proper engine will help make sure we can get people and boats to safety in the event of a capsize.
Safety is our team's top priority, and this boat will help us prepare for worst-case scenarios. This boat will put us on track through being the safest, the fastest, and the most effective team in our conference.
Donate today to help us reach our $4,000 goal and get CU Sailing motivated. Share to everyone you know to spread the word. With your help, we will be on our way to be a safer and more successful program.
We're back on BuffSports Live, and Gourmet Vinay is in studio to serve up some tasty takes. Of course, I had to take my jacket off because it's been so hot in the kitchen. But it's been a productive season for spring sports here in Colorado, and we'll start with the lacrosse team. They've had a great season, ranked 18th, winners 2 of the last 3 games.
And they've had some great wins, too. The Buffs have beat ranked teams like Stanford and Virginia Tech. Nathan, you mentioned that they're ranked 18th in the nation. People forget this is just the 5th season that Colorado's lacrosse team exists, and Ann Elliott has done a great job building this program from the ground up.
Coach Elliott, of course, earning Coach of the Year honors last year, and she's got a tough job to do in the second half of the season.
Yeah, 2 of Colorado's next 3 opponents are ranked, and 3 Pac-12 teams total are ranked. The Buffs will have to deal with that when they host the Pac-12 tournament later this year.
Switching gears to another team, there's some good seasons here in Boulder. The tennis team did pretty well, with a little bit of ups and downs. What have you seen from them?
Well, they're in the middle of a 5-game losing streak, which is never good, after being swept by Washington and Washington State. Unfortunately, that game wasn't an April Fool's joke. We'll talk about those games later in the show, but it looks like Colorado's having a hard time replacing Noria Ormeña Ruiz, who was their star player last season.
Unfortunately, that ding means it's time to close the kitchen. Gourmet Vinay, thanks for joining us. Mitch, back to you.
While much of the team was in Kansas, 4 members of the men's golf team took a short drive down US 36 to compete in the Colorado Mines Bob Ripps Invitational. Because there were only 4 members of the team, there was no team score posted. The best performance from Colorado came from sophomore Ross McDonald, as he tied for 6th place with a total of 5 over par. CU also had 3 players finish in the 20s overall, as senior Cade Crossland, freshman Trevor Olkowski, and Cole Krantz placed 21st, 25th, and 27th, respectively.
I hope we've got some golf fans out there, because we've got a lot of golf news right now. About 2 weeks ago, the men's golf team was able to clinch 3rd place at the inaugural Kansas State Bighorn Invitational for the first time in program history. 3 Buffs finished in the top 6 of the day. Incredibly, the team hit 4 birdies on the first hole, and those 4 players ended up combining for 15 birdies on the day. Sophomore Daniel O'Loughlin started out in the lead, but had some trouble near the end of the day. He finished 2nd. Also last week, the golf team played in Stanford's 49th Invitational, the Goodwin, placing 6th. Oklahoma ended up claiming the crown with a remarkable 26 under par for the tournament. Once again, Daniel O'Loughlin led the way for the Buffs, tying 410th with 4 under par. O'Loughlin was also one of the 3 Buffs to avoid a score higher than a bogey on any single hole. Senior Yannick Paul placed in a tie for 20th, with his 39 pars being the 8th most at the tournament. CU showed its consistency as they went 2 straight rounds with no score worse than a bogey. The team is back in action the weekend of April 14th at the Arizona State Thunderbird Intercollegiate.
The Colorado women's golf team traveled to the Grand Canyon State last week for the ASU Ping Invitational. The Buffs tied for 7th behind a stellar performance by Robin Choi. Choi finished 11th in the tournament and shot a team low in the 2nd round with 69 strokes.
There's March Madness and there's March Mayhem. The women's golf team was in Rancho Santa Fe, California for the SDSU March Mayhem tournament this week. Number 5 Southern California won the whole thing with Colorado placed 7th, once again after beating California in the tiebreaker.
I think it's time for another break.
We have updates on track and field and tennis, as well as Buff Banner with Jack Stern. Stay tuned.
That's right. Do I look like a commingled contender to you? All I want is a newspaper.
Why don't you bring that bottle over here? I won't be spitting it back at you.
All right, boy, why don't you bring that bottle over here to commingle so these boys stop bickering and ruin my night.
And we'll be right back on Buff Sports Live.
3, 2, 1, we're clear.
Hey, Rach, have you heard about the Buff Sports Live desk troll?
There's no such thing, Jake.
Oh, my God. In 1992, he bit an anchor's foot clean off during the show.
No way.
She mispronounced a name! We're back on Buff Sports Live. Unbelievable women's basketball game last night.
Wendy B. Kennard was amazeballs.
Well, the show must go on. She had a triple-double in 60 minutes of play as the Buffs went on to win.
With baseball season kicking off last week, several players from the state of Colorado were back in action. Denver native and Colorado Rocky Kyle Freeland made his season debut against the San Diego Padres on Tuesday. Freeland allowed 2 runs through 5 frames before running into a wall in the home half of the 6th inning. Padres left fielder Jose Piarella led off the inning with a single before a Hunter Renfroe double moved him over to third base. Freeland was yanked from the game before both runners came around to score. The Rockies went on to lose the contest by a score of 8-4. Teams across Major League Baseball honored Arvada West graduate and two-time Cy Young Award winner Roy Halladay. Halladay tragically passed away in the offseason after his plane crashed into the Gulf of Mexico. Philadelphia Eagles head coach wore the former Phillies jersey when throwing out the first pitch at the team's home opener. Aurora native and top prospect Greg Bird suffered a minor setback after hurting his ankle during spring training. After successfully undergoing surgery, the Yankee will miss the first month of the season before returning. Fortunately, the move hasn't slowed down the Bronx Bombers one bit. Thanks to newly acquired slugger Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, the Yankees season is once again off to a hot start. And in other news, Phillies manager Gabe Kapler thinks it's the umpire's responsibility to supervise all bullpen changes. Man, have times changed. I'm Jack Stern with this week's edition of Buff Banter. Back to you at the desk.
The tennis buffs went to the rainy state of Washington this past week. Colorado faced off the University of Washington as well as Washington State. However, the buffs struggled holding their serve throughout both games. Both Washington teams swept the buffs 4-0, bringing Colorado's overall down to 8-7 and 1-4 in the Pac-12.
Last Friday and Saturday, Colorado's track and field team participated in the Pac-12 Big Ten Challenge in Tempe, Arizona. The Buffs had the most success in the men's 3,000 meter, with 3 athletes in top 4 performances. Other successful athletes include Sage Herta, Ariana Henderson, and Eduardo Herrera in their respective events.
The Buffs started their track season right on Friday night, with Caitlin Benner and Aaron Clark posting NCAA qualifying times at the Stanford Invitational. Benner clocked a personal best 15 minutes 47 seconds, good for a third-place finish, just 5 seconds behind the winner.
We have to take a break, but be sure to stick around.
There is going to be a whole lot of Bobbers Galen.
A whole lot.
What's really good, Buff fans? Rapid Fire's coming up next, and it's about to be off the Chisade.
This deserves a second look. Michael taking off, the patented tongue comes out. Just in front of that line. Look at this, the double clutch, the restart.
Pass in left wing, looks behind him, wide open, right wing, up top, open for 3, fires.
Really good basketball, Mark. Unselfish, smart basketball.
Open for 3, fires, nothing but nylon from downtown. Good ball move by Colorado.
What's up, Buff fans? It's time for my favorite segment of the show. My name is Bob the Builder, Ricky Bobby, Millie Bobby Brown, regular Bobby Brown. I'm your master of ceremonies. I'm Bobby Galen. It's time to quiz with me and learn about Colorado sports. Coming up first, we have the women's tennis team making the SoCal circuit, playing USC on Friday and UCLA on Sunday. The Buffs are coming off 4 straight road matches and are looking to bounce back. Up next, the CU track and field team is hosting the Colorado Invitational at Potts Field all day today. So right after the show, head on over to cheer on your Buffaloes. If not, we will find you. After that, the women's golf team will be hitting the links at the Silverado Showdown. Even though they'll be in wine country, you can still follow live updates Sunday through Tuesday. And capping it all off, we have the women's lacrosse team who will be taking on USC today and Arizona State on Sunday. They're coming off a 4-game road trip, so just go, please. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. They'll legally allow me for on camera. I'll be fired if I go over. This has been Rapid Fire. I've been Bobby Galen. Back to you gentlemen at the desk.
The USA Women's Under-20 national soccer team is gaining a buffalo. No, not an actual buffalo, but in some ways, yes, an actual buffalo. Taylor Korniak The star sophomore midfielder was one of 24 players selected to the team. Korniak has 18 goals over 2 seasons here in Boulder.
Senior Joss Oriel was also named to a national soccer team, but she was named to the Mexican team, not the American. In her 4 seasons in Colorado, Oriel scored 2 goals with 14 assists. This is Oriel's second time representing her motherland. She competed on the under-20 Mexican team back in 2012.
Earlier in the show, we asked you, which varsity sport has the senior athlete with the highest GPA? And the answer will shock you. It's track and field. And if you knew that it was Michelle Wenning with a 3.977 GPA, well, you should reconsider how you spend your Fridays.
It is time to send it.
Hopefully the control room is in one piece without us.
Well, have a great weekend, Buffs.